What's good, everyone? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night wherever in the world you are. I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Noah MP3, and today I've found another victim to show some expanded cards to. As you can see, we have our first time show today. Hello, Shady. Welcome in. How are you doing?
Hello. I knew I was a victim. I fucking know.
I have not specifically told you, but I think I gave it the similar vibes in beforehand.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
It's fine. I'll get my revenge.
Don't worry about that. You probably will eventually. So Shitty, I'm gonna show you some older cards. I'm gonna show you cards from Expanded, which are ranging from black and white base set until now. So you have played a little bit of Standards, TCG, a little bit.
Very little bit.
Very little bit.
No, I don't thing.
Yeah, I think it was mostly the Roaring Moon archetype that you played, if I recall
Roaring
correctly.
Moon slowly got into the Gardevoir as well.
Oh yeah.
It was mostly the more cycling through decks fast, the aggressive style. As I would say that I'm a lot more aggressive player on most games, so it's get it done quick.
All right, I gotcha. So you're but you're at least familiar with the base rules of how the game functions. That's like kind of the most important thing of today.
Yeah.
It would be a little bit mean if I gave you cards that you would need context for to evaluate correctly.
No, totally. I know nothing about this game. He just pulled me along here. I have no clue what I'm doing. Send help, someone.
Don't worry, you're gonna do excellent. Okay. Shitty, I'm gonna send you your first cards. Are you ready?
No, I mean yes, let's go.
Alright. Your first card is right here.
A red card. It is red.
Damn. What an observation.
It is red. It should be banned, it's red, I don't know. Right. So, it's a trainer card. Opponent shuffles her hand into his or her deck and draws 4 cards. And it's trainer.
It's an item card, so you can play that as many times as you want during your turn.
Yes. I mean, Iono definitely I think is worse than this.
Yeah, of course, Iono is your supporter for turn, so that's a little more impactful on the player's turn.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, you can.
I'll give you one more hint. It's kind of like a time frame when this card was released. This card was released in the base set of X and Y, so in 2014, the first ever XY set.
He thinks that helps me.
Just so you know that this card has had some time on it. It's not a fairly recent card, I'll tell you that.
I would say it's legal. Well, it's as many cards as you want, but the thing is, well, you're still gonna have a limited amount of this in your deck. Yeah, I think it's legal.
You think it's legal or illegal?
Legal.
Legal. Okay.
Legal.
So, red card is, of course, I'll give you the explanation now. Red card is, of course, a very annoying card, let's say, for your opponents to face against. Like, if they got a God Hand and suddenly they're like, oh yeah, no, yes, we don't have that. Guess we just have 4 random cards from our deck. That's a little bit annoying. But this card on its own wasn't really... Like, it was annoying, and it saw, like, play in some meta decks, but it wasn't really that great. Until a later expansion came along... XY Breakpoint, and released this following card, this supporter called Delinquent.
Okay.
Yeah, so Delinquent, if you have a stadium in play, it discards it, and you discard 3 cards from your opponent. Now, of course, the opponent can still choose which cards they want to discard from that, but that means that they have a 1-card hand after the combo of red card plus Delinquent.
Yeah, not great.
1-card hand is kind of crazy. Like, you can do that with Iono, but only if your opponent has 1 prize card. You can basically do this whenever you want in the game. Essentially, even on turn 1, because you could still play supporters going first. So if you turn 1 your opponent red card Delinquent, they start with a starting hand of 1 rather than 7. Technically, it's not really 7 because you lay down basic Pokemon and stuff at the start, but and even if they keep a card that refills their hand, a card like Professor's Research, for example, if they would keep that, they still don't have, like, they still do not have a supporter to play for the rest of the turn. They have to play a supporter to get out of that situation. which is honestly, it's pretty powerful, but it wasn't like the most game-breaking thing, because you still needed a very specific 2-card combo.
Yeah,
but
I think Delinquent kind of...
There's a specific 3rd card that you would play after Red Card plus Delinquents.
There's always more.
There's always more.
There's always more.
It's peaking Red Card. Go ahead and give that a read.
Okay, your opponent reveals their hand. You may have your opponent count the cards in their hand, shuffle those cards into their deck, and draw that many.
Yeah, so what you can do is after you Red Card Delinquent them to 1 card in hand, you can play Peeking Red Card to see if the card that they kept is actually like a good card that can get them out of the situation. And if it is, you have them reshuffle their hands, and if it's not, you just keep it as is, and you're like, okay, GG.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is once again, this is a 3-card combo. Might not sound very consistent, but in Expanded, there's like a lot of really consistent draw you can get on specific Pokemon abilities or specific item cards to play. So, yeah, you can get this combo pretty consistently on turn 2, often on turn 1. So this resulted in both Delinquent and Red Card being banned. Delinquent first in 2019, and then like 10 months later, Red Card also got bans.
That's damn. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can see why hand disruption can be a little bit strong sometimes now.
Yes, it's very irritating.
Yeah, I think what the most important thing you should realize from this is that Pokemon Company like sometimes prints hand disruption cards, but they recently took a more stricter action against hand disruption, specifically because it's very unfun to play against, especially if it can happen before the other player can even do anything in the game. That's kind of like the thing you should keep in mind going forward, I think. So I fooled you on the first one. Only 9 more to go.
Only 9 more.
Yeah. I'm going to show you your second card right now. You might have seen this card because it's kind of an iconic card, but I'll show it to you right now. Well done.
I have not. Attach up to 2 fire energies from your hand to one of your Pokemon. If you do, draw 3 cards. It is a supporter. So it's attached energies from your... Instantly, I would think that's fine. Like, looking at it as a face value, this is okay. You draw 3 cards from attached energies. You could, but I guess the thing is, you got to realize you can attach 3 energies, and also it says if you do draw. I'm assuming by that if you do draw 3, so you can attach 1, then you still draw 3 cards.
Correct. Yeah, if you attach any fire energy using this card, you draw 3.
And I'm assuming you're not going to use this card without attaching an energy. If not, I'm
pretty sure you cannot play this card if you don't have energy in hand.
You really didn't need that if you do.
Yeah, it's more or less that the general consensus on this is that you cannot play a card that has no effect. So if you play Welder without fire energy in your hand, you have no fire energy to attach and you don't draw cards. So, because if it said attach 2 fire energy and draw 3 cards, we would still be able to draw 3 cards, you know, without attaching.
Makes sense.
But with this wording, you cannot play it without attaching. So, yeah, that's kind of a distinction.
Now, the thing is attaching up to 2 extra energies, I'm going to say, a bannable offense. Because yes, that is very, very fast energy attachment. But I partly think there's faster ways, especially now.
Yeah, okay. Like, to be fair, we have Gardevoir in the formats right now. Gardevoir EX is
Gardevoir is in the format. You also have Roaring Moon, and so you can get the whole Ancients and just get rid of the energies and attach them all on. Like, I have 100%.
But just to say, Gardevoir EX is a stage 2 Pokemon. And the Roaring Moon Ancient stuff, that's like a whole package of cards. It's not really one card. That's the big difference here.
Alright, let's say I'm gonna put a ban on this just because it is that one card when everything else requires a lot more setup. This one requires no setup whatsoever. I feel like, you know, fire deck, just do some damage.
Oh, you could definitely do some damage with this card. Holy moly. This card, like I said, is very iconic, and for the reason is that it was basically the focal point of the Reshiram Charizard tag team archetype, which had 2 top 4 placements in Worlds 2019, which is the first Worlds this Welder card was legal. I'll show you Reshiram Charizard real quick. Not really much on the card is necessary to read. It's just a very good fire attacker that has high fire energy costs, which you can alleviate by using Welder.
It's very nice looking too.
Oh, I agree. It's an amazing card. And this card was usually paired with Victini Prism Star. I don't think that's very relevant actually for you to show. Yeah, no, Victini Prism Star is not that relevant. But this also saw play later down the line in other cards that have been with other cards that have been released later. Like, hold on, if I can send them over.
He's hunting his TCG libraries as well. They were.
Yeah, no, I just have them all in a folder. I just have to select the correct ones. But as you can see, both of these cards scale with the amount of fire energy. They scale the damage with the amount of fire energy that they have attached. So Welder was also excellent in these kind of decks. And it, honestly, this card was very broken in Standards. But ever since it left Standards, it's been power crept a little. Like, it's not a bad card. It's still definitely one of the best supporters in the game. But it's not unfair enough to warrant a ban. Like, it even still sees play in Expanded to this day in, like, Gouging Fire EX decks. This card might seem a little familiar to you because it's a more of a recent card.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the card is actually, like, too fair to get banned, so to say. But it's a really powerful effect, don't get me wrong.
Damn, I should have gone my first answer.
You should you should always remember that I'm trying to get you in the wrong.
Shit.
Or am I? But your analysis was pretty much spot on. Your analysis that this is indeed a very strong card for fire decks, especially with ones that require multiple fire energies to be attached.
So this feels like a card I would 100% be playing in decks if I played Expanded. Does it? The speed, like, yes.
Oh yeah, this is like definitely a hyper aggressive card. Well, in Reshiram Charizard decks, it wasn't really necessarily hyper aggressive because
I like this
because it had so much energy requirements that you needed to play Welder on turn 1 and on turn 2 basically to be able to attack on turn 2 with this. But yeah,
I like Cephalon Center Scorch. That looks interesting.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of interesting attackers to be paired with Welder, absolutely. But these attackers would be, let me just tell you, these attackers would be horrendous if Welder did not exist. just saying.
Yeah.
Because Welder, I'm pretty sure, was the only form of fire acceleration, specifically. I mean, now we have Magma Basin, but Magma Basin is like 1 fire per turn and you take damage, and it has to be from discard pile. It's very conditional, and it's a stadium, so it can be countered. So that's not very consistent. This is by far the most consistent fire energy attachment we've seen ever. But not obnoxious enough to warrant a ban, I guess.
I would expect these decks to have way too many fire energies to get as well, though.
Oh yeah, the average Welder deck would probably run like at least 12 fire energy.
Oof.
Which is like 20% of your deck already.
Yeah,
right,
I like mine. Let's go.
Alright, Shady. I'm going to show you your next card. I'm going to show you your first Pokemon, okay?
Oh, it's a Pokemon. Ooh.
Your first Pokemon. Here it is.
Yeah.
It's Duskull.
Oh, what's a Duskull? It is a basic Pokemon. HP, quite low. That's a small 40. So, ability, Spirit-Born Evolution. Once per turn, for your attack, you may discard 3 cards from your hand. If you social deck that card, or card that evolves from this Pokemon and put it into this Pokemon. Onto, not into. Into would be a bit disturbing. Onto this Pokemon, evolve it. Then shuffle your deck. Honest Eyes, put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon.
Yeah.
So, it's 2 damage on anything it wants for 1 energy.
Oh, let me tell you, the attack on this card does not matter.
Does not matter.
I don't think I've ever seen this card attack.
Yeah, I was gonna say
the ability is the one that matters because you can evolve. You can skip evolution, or not skip evolution, but cheat evolution. It doesn't need to be a turn in play before you can evolve it with the ability. So on turn 1 you can play this. There's a few. There's like a Spearow in Standard right now from 151 set that has the ability. If you go second, you can evolve this during your first turn. but that's specifically if you go second. But this can literally like be evolved at any point of the game, even on the turn that this Duskull is played.
Now, this would depend to me how good is Dusclops. Because if Duskull goes Dusclops and then Dusclops is very meh.
I'll give you a card. I'll give you a hint, like a card you might be very familiar with. A card that's in standard right now.
So once during your opponent's turn, you may put 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, but it kills itself. That 5 does seem good. With regeneration of discarded cards, yeah, I can see that being powerful indeed. Ban-worthy though? Is it ban-worthy? I mean, okay, once per turn. So you can literally... I'm going to say yes, it's ban-worthy. Just because turn 1, if you do that, they have 1 Pokemon out. Then you do that, you evolve to Dusclops. And then turn 1, you put those 5 damage counters on. Let's say they have, I don't know, a 40 out. They have, I don't know, Bidoof. Bidoof has 50, right?
Bidoof has 60.
Not that one. One that does.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I can't do it.
Like Pidgey, for example. Pidgey.
Yeah, Pidgey. There you go. We got one. So you can turn 1 win. So I want to say yes, it's banned. If not, at least Dusclops is banned, which is not.
And Shady, you would be entirely right. This is your first right in the video. And
Yay!
The reasoning was actually perfect for this. It's exactly that reasoning, because this Duskull has historically literally seen very little play. But due to the recent release of this, like, Curse Blast Dusclops, it was from Shrouded Fable, which is like a few months ago even. This spawned a new deck called Dusclops Donk. And if you're not familiar with Pokemon terminology, a donk means turn 1 win. And yeah, so this deck made it possible to win on your first turn going first by knocking out all your opponent's Pokemon with Curse Blast. I think optimally this deck can literally pop for 4 Dusclops on turn 1 going first. Optimally, but usually you only need 1 or 2. And of course, if you go against big basic decks, that's like, okay, it's kind of like, okay, GG, you lose. But if your opponent starts with small basics, they have no chance to play the game, basically, which is a very unfun interaction to do. So in Expanded, this was actually more consistent than you might realize because of the combination of these 2 cards that I'm going to show you right now. Make sure to read the Execute first that I sent you.
Execute first. So, once during your turn, for your attack, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may put this Pokemon in your hand. You're already discarding the cards. And then, and Seed Bomb for 20 damage.
Yeah.
Search your deck for up to 3 cards and discard them. Shuffle your deck afterwards.
So the combo would be if you have a Battle Compressor in your opening hand, you just yoink 3 Execute out of the deck into your discard pile, add all 3 Execute to your hand, and then use those 3 Executes to like discard for your Duskull to immediately find the Dusclops and put it on there. So you actually only need like 2 cards in your opening hand, being like a card that finds Duskull and Battle Compressor. And that's the only thing you need to at least pop 1 Dusclops on turn 1. And this Execute, honestly, the wording is kind of weird in the sense that this card doesn't really function correctly. Because Propagation Execute, when it leaves the discard pile, because it leaves the discard pile and goes to your hand, but your hand is private knowledge, so Execute technically becomes a new card, which means that this actually, the ones during your turn thing doesn't really matter at all. So you could like infinitely, like technically on your turn, you could infinitely discard it and put it back to your hand, and then discard it and put it back to your hand during like any given turn, because it becomes a new card every time it enters your hands.
So literally, yeah, because like that's what this card's 3, so they'll just come back.
Yeah, so literally, if you have 3 Duskull and a Battle Compressor in hand, you can pop 3 Dusclops on turn 1. It's just literally like bench the Duskulls, Compressor for 3 Execute, get the Executes to your hand, discard them all for 1 Dusclops, get them back to your hand, discard them all for like another Dusclops in. As you can see, that's kind of ridiculous. So indeed, this Duskull was banned. Only, I want to say, I think it's about a few weeks, like 2 weeks after Shrouded Fable came out. So this is technically the most recent ban for the expanded format.
Well, there we go.
You actually got one right.
I have broken your streak. you're not going 10-0. I'll take it.
I mean, I'm already happy if I can go positive, because it's basically everything is a coin flip in this video.
And I will also just say this: he's also notoriously bad for getting good coin flips.
Me? Oh
Let's not talk about the 17 tails in a row.
Yeah, let's just leave that aside. All right, are you ready for your fourth card?
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you a card from Black and White, a very old card.
I've got pins and needles in my feet. Wait. So it is Getsis, if I might say.
Yeah,
there you go.
I don't really care how you pronounce it, but it's Getsis.
Gotsis, let's go. So Gotsis, your opponent reveals his or her hand and shuffles all item cards found there into his or her deck. Then draw a number of cards equal to the number of item cards your opponent shuffled into his or her deck. It is a supporter, so one poker. Interesting. So, first thought is, first turn, full hand. Firstly, you're gonna reveal the whole hand, and all the items cards are going to their deck. So you know what their hand is.
Mm-hmm.
Then lose those item cards. So you're kind of hoping that their hand is a lot of item cards, and obviously that's a coin flip on its own. Then draw a number of cards equal to them. I mean, you're not losing anything by using this, which that's powerful because
you're losing your supporter for turn.
Yeah, you're losing a supporter. Oh no!
But at worst, Getsis is your opponent reveals his or her hand. That's what it is at worst.
It's good in the first place, but also you have a chance. What? Let's say they have a whole hand and it's like 6 items. That's 6 cards. Right.
Yeah, -6 for the opponent and +6 for you.
Yeah. I want to put the ban label on this. I'm going to say banned.
You want to say banned on this? Okay.
I want to say banned.
Interesting. All right. So you should probably know it. On average, there's about 40% of a player's deck is item cards. So on average, you would find around 2 to 3 items in any given opponent's hand, depending on how many they play, of course. Exactly. Yes. But usually decks have around 40% item cards, so to say. And this card is kind of hard to find on turn 1, but it's not that hard to find if you play Tapu Lele GX. Go ahead and give that a read.
Okay. So, it has 170 HP. Ability, Wonder Tag. When you play this, I was about to say your opponent plays this, that would have been an issue. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may search your deck for a supporter card, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Assuming that's the important bit, but we're gonna go on.
Yeah, exactly. No, you don't need to read anything else. Like Tapu Lele GX in itself is a pretty solid card. It's similar to how Luminion V functions in today's format, but this also has like a usable attack. But if you play Tapu Lele GX on turn 1, you can just Wonder Tag for your Getsis immediately, which made Getsis a lot more consistent and caused Getsis to be banned about a year after Tapu Lele GX's release to stop this just plain annoying combo. Because there was an older card that had a similar effect to this. I'll show it to you as well. This Jirachi EX. It's a very old card. You don't necessarily need to read it, but the ability is functionally the same. But this is also this is also a 2-price Pokemon, and it gives up, and it only has 90 HP. So it was very punishable to do a Jirachi gets his play on turn 1. Like, yes, you discard all your item cards from your opponent, or not discard, like you get rid of them temporarily. Yeah. But your opponent can still fairly easily get a 2 prizes by KOing this Jirachi. And with the release of Tapu Lele GX, it's got a lot more safe and consistent, because Tapu Lele GX is just a better card in general. And honestly, Getsis has been banned. You got another one right. Hell yeah, let's go. Good for you.
50% on the way.
50% on the way. Hell yeah.
Yeah. You know what? No, you're just not getting another win now.
I'm not? You're gonna go 8 in a row right now?
Lose. Yeah, totally.
Alright. I'm gonna
regret those ones.
I'm gonna show you your 5th card right now. I'm gonna show you your first special energy of the day.
Okay.
Here we go.
It is a strong energy. It has gone to the gym a few times. Right. This card can only be attached to fighting Pokemon. This card provides fighting energy only, while this is attached to a fighting Pokemon. The attacks of the fighting Pokemon. This card is attached to does 20 more damage to opponent's active Pokemon. 20 more damage. This is very similar to, I'm gonna forget the energy name, but the one that reduces the damage you take.
Reduces damage you take?
Yes. Isn't, or is that, I don't know.
Oh, do you mean double turbo energy?
That one.
Yeah, it reduces the damage you do, not the damage you take, technically. But I see what you're coming from. Yeah.
I'm a fake TCG person. I'm sorry. Right.
You're doing excellent. Don't worry. This is a very hard card to evaluate. So, like, honestly, if you take your time.
I think, depending on what the other fighting Pokemon is, this is gonna do something.
All right. Should I show you a fighting Pokemon that's relevant to this? I think I'll actually show you two of them.
Okay.
Here
we go.
Yeah.
We're just gonna find one that does damage twice.
Here you go. 30
damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. You may discard all fighting energy attached to this Pokemon. If you do, this does 70 more. And that is the Lando.
The Lander is
the Lando. Mm-hmm. And then a Primal Groudon. If there is any stadium in play, this attack does 100 more damage.
Make sure you read the ability that Groudon has, like, right below its name, the Omega Barrier.
Oh, there we go. I hadn't seen that further. Right, whenever your opponent places a trainer card, excluding Pokemon tools and trainer stadium cards, prevent all effects that card does. All effects of that card done with this Pokemon. So it's saying you do not increase the damage because tough.
No, it's your opponent's trainer cards that don't affect it. So it can't be. You can't use like boss's orders to gust it to the active, for example.
So it's a 4 energy cost for basically 120 damage unless you have a supporter, then it's a 200 damage. And a Hammerhead's an easy.
Well, it's not technically shitty. You should probably realize you're probably not attaching one strong energy. You're probably attaching multiple.
True. I want to say banned, but I'm looking more at the Lando. I'm thinking 30 damage for 1 energy cost. And let's say you have 3. That's 90 damage, right?
Yeah.
No, I can't. Yeah, it is 90 damage.
It is 90.
Math, okay? 90 damage for 1 energy cost is a bit of a.
You can say that. You can say that. Yeah. Yeah. I would say both of these archetypes definitely saw a lot of success when they were in standards. Obviously, Landorus EX was. Landorus EX was a black and white card, but Strong Energy was released in the XY era. So when Strong Energy released, Landorus EX found a resurgence. Because it was kind of shit. Let's just say Landorus EX was kind of shit on release. But with Strong Energy, it actually became a very playable card, especially with other cards that I'm not going to show you. I could show you like 3 to 4 other cards from the archetype that show you how to synergize that with them, but it's not really that relevant. I would say Landorus EX was like a top 5 deck at best, probably. It was never like best deck in format or whatever. But the reason for that is mostly because Landorus is weak to a water type, and the best deck in format at that moment was a water type, like had a water type Pokemon as centerpiece. So that's most of the reason why it didn't see that much play. I would say if that wasn't the case, it would probably be a top 3 deck or top 2 maybe even. But then later on, like of course in the ORAS era when Primal Groudon EX released, since Primal Groudon is immune to boss's orders, you can pretty safely like put it on the bench and just start stacking the strong energies on it, like turn for turn whilst you're doing other stuff in the active. And I'm going to show you another card that's kind of relevant for Groudon EX. Also somewhat relevant for Landorus, but Groudon abuses more. It's Focus Sash.
Okay, so it is a tool if the fighting Pokemon in this. Wait, I'm adding words. If the fighting Pokemon this card is attached to has full HP and would be knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, that Pokemon is not knocked out and his remaining HP becomes 10 instead, then discard this card. So
it basically guarantees you don't get OHKO'd as that Pokemon, which means you get at least 2 attacks off. if you do everything right with the rest of your Groudon plays, which made this deck actually pretty solid.
Chunky damage. Yeah, chunky damage.
It's a very chunky damage. Literally, if you attach four strong energy to Groudon, you're doing potentially like 280 damage if there's Stadium in play. Like, that's crazy. Of course, these are two specific archetypes that I cherry picked, but basically every deck that had fighting attackers in them in Expanded right now runs 4 strong energy. These are two archetypes that I discussed that were like standard legal with strong energy, but these days, if there's a fighting deck in Expanded, you would use strong energy on this. But strong energy also has downsides, and one of the biggest downside is that you cannot search it very easily from your deck. With cards like Earthen Vessel, for example, there's a lot of cards that search basic energy very easily, but strong energy is not really a basic energy, it's a special energy. So,
oh, I know this card very well.
Yeah, so for that reason, strong energy is not banned.
Damn. I regret my words already.
Honestly, your analysis was pretty nice. But yeah, that's kind of a caveat that not a lot of players realize, and when they see strong energy, they're like, oh my god, that's so Unga Boonga broken. But yeah, you just have to get lucky with drawing that, which is not a very consistent game plan. I do want to show you, before we move to like the next card to evaluate, I want to show you a very funny card that abused strong energy as well, which is Carbink Break.
The golden Carbink noise. I have to look sideways this way. Diamond Gift. Attach 2 energies from your discard pile to one of your fighting Pokemon. I can go normal now.
So, because it says energy cards and not basic energy cards, you can actually attach strong energies from your discard pile to one of your fighting Pokemon, which is very cool.
Yeah.
You should see Carbink Break. Virtually, the break mechanic functions as an evolution of a Pokemon, just like what VMAX does or something. Like, you could evolve any regular Carbink into the Carbink Break by putting this card horizontally on top of it. That's basically how this card functions.
Impossible to see.
Yeah, I know it's impossible to see because Discord sends it vertically. But yeah, I just wanted to show you the Carbink because I think it's a very funny card. This is actually run in every deck that runs strong energy right now in Expanded. And it's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid like backup for if your strong energy attackers get KO'd, but your opponent doesn't have enough prize cards to win yet.
Yeah, Noah's trying to strain my neck here, but yeah.
Yeah, this is the last break card I'm going to show you. Don't worry.
My neck can be fixed now. Ah.
All right, Shady. I'm going to be sending you over your 6 cards right now.
Yeah.
You might have heard of this one, or you might have heard me complain about this one before. But
probably the latter.
Here you go.
VIP Battle Pass. It's an item card. Oh, that one. You can use this card only during your first turn. Search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon, put them on your bench, and shuffle your deck. To me, instantly, I wouldn't ban them. But is there something?
Okay.
Use this card.
You get 2 Pokemon on your bench, 2 basics. That's like double Mass Ball on 1 card.
But you can only do it your first turn.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta hope you draw this, or you have cards to shuffle through your deck to get this, but then you shuffle through your deck and you have the basics in your hand anyway, unless you're using an item collecting one. Why would he put this one in here if it's just as straight as easy as that, though? Now he's mind gaming me. Now I've got to think through the Noah mind games.
Am I mind gaming you, or am I not? That's the question, actually. It's a coin flip, so hey.
I'm going with my gut. I don't think... I think you're mind gaming me, but I don't think there's a way you can mind game me. It's up to 2. Unless you're finding all of these on first turn, then you're getting 6. But yeah, I want to say not banned.
Okay. Saying not banned, I can see that.
Yeah.
Alright.
Legal.
This card is easily one of the most powerful item cards that's ever been printed, honestly. But also one of the most hated cards ever printed. Because this card, when it was in Standard, it has rotated last March. No, not last March, the March before that. So it was like... so it was like a little over a year ago. I don't miss this card, by the way, in Standard. This card was run as a 4-off in virtually every deck when it was in Standard. And it created such a polarizing play pattern in the sense that the player that would hit 1 or more Battle VIP bosses on turn 1 usually had an incredibly large edge over the player that would hit like less or none on turn 1. Because you can only play this on your first turn or on your first turn. You can still use this card as like discard fodder for Ultra Ball or whatever. So it's not entirely useless after turn 1, but most of the utility is gone after turn 1. But in Expanded, this saw a lot less play. All the good decks in Expanded already had plenty of consistent draw and Pokemon setup. There's cards like Mysterious Treasure and Cherish Ball that can search for Pokemon 1-for-1, or only have to discard 1 card to just find any Pokemon you want, not limited to basic Pokemon. And to be honest, to add an unreliable item instead of those that were already used was generally just a gambler's pipe dream. And, like, the only Expanded archetype that actually plays this is the Fusion Strike archetype, because their setup requires a lot of big basics, but if they can get their big basics online very fast, then they are probably snowballing for a win. But no, this card is not banned. It's just very, very disliked, and people wished for it to be banned when it was in Standard, like a Standard ban, because people did not like the polarizing gameplay it created when it was in Standard. And honestly, I could have seen it being banned in Standards, but they never did. So this card was never banned, especially not for Expanded. Holy shit, the power level is so much higher than Battle VIP boss, you know.
Once you have a million other cards to choose from, you're kind of that one just goes, eh.
I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, this is not a bad card, but it's not, the card is not good enough for Expanded. It was definitely good enough for Standards when it was in Standard, but not for Expanded.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Alright, you got this one, hell yeah. Slay.
Wait, even.
Yeah, you're 3 for 6. 3 out of 6. You're doing quite well. Alright, I'm gonna show you a very fun one next. A very weird one. A very weird
We're ready
one.
for the weird.
Hell yeah.
Blaine's Quiz Show, or good old Blaine. It's a supporter. Put a Pokemon from your hand, face down, in front of you, and tell your opponent the name of an attacker. Your opponent guesses the name of that Pokemon, and then you reveal it. If your opponent guesses right, they draw 4 cards. If they guess wrong, you draw 4 cards. You return the Pokemon to your hand. This sounds like a very fun little random minigame. I first looked, I wouldn't ban it, mainly because, well, it's kind of even in it's a supporter slot. Yeah, you have a chance to draw, but they also have a chance to draw. And you do get to keep Pokemon which, yeah, okay, there's no downside except they'll have too many cards or you'll have too many cards. So I want to say it's illegal.
You want to say it's legal? Okay.
Legal.
So, just to preface, you are correct. This card never got banned and Expanded. But this card has been banned in the past for Standards. Not for Expanded, but for Standards. So that was not the question, of course, so you got this one right. But this card, this is just a funny story I want to tell. Because this card was banned in the first Worlds tournament it was legal for, technically, Worlds 2019. And this is banned because of how this card would affect a multilingual environment. If you played, for example, with French cards, you would put the Pokemon down and they would say like an attack name for like that Pokemon. And they're saying like, okay, no, the attack name is different on this card because I'm playing a French card or a German card or whatever. That just fucking sucks, you know? That just fucking sucks. It just causes a lot of weird interactions. Also, there was a certain deck that played Stoutland in it. I'm not gonna go into too much in depth on the Stoutlands, but like the Lillipup and Herdier had for their first attack they had the same name in French but different names in English. So there's like multiple layers of how this could go completely wrong and just be a complete mess for judges to deal with. So they banned this card preemptively for specifically Worlds. And honestly, I don't think this card has been legal in Standard for like any big regionals. It's just kind of like a for fun card, but never legal for any regionals whatsoever.
It's like one of your gamble decks, and I guess at least on TCG Online that you can't get confused. So
yeah,
we take.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a fun little.
It is definitely a fun little mini game. I'll show you Blaine's Quiz hash number 1 with just real quick because that's what this card was based on. Like, because there were three Blaine's Quizzes cards back in the day, like in the very early days. As you can see, this one is a lot crazier than I'm just sending you. Because you have to guess the Pokemon's length. You have to guess the Pokemon's length from the Pokemon they put down. They tell you what the Pokemon is, and then they have to guess the fucking length. Like, come on, who the fuck knows that?
Do you have to be exact, or can you be like 10 out, 20 out.
You have to be
50 out?
exact for this card.
The fuck?
This is
No.
this is an item card, by the way, so just an item for draw 2, which is kind of crazy.
But it's the exact. So no, sorry, you're a centimeter out. No, sorry. Oof.
Yeah, no, this is Blaine's Quiz Show is a very wacky card, but Blaine's Quiz #1 was even wackier back in the day. All right, that was a fun little tangent, wasn't it? Let's go back to like a normal card, sort of. Well, this is sort of a normal card. Sort of. Here you go. Your first stadium card to review.
Oh, stadiums. Whenever either player plays a stadium card from their hand, discard that stadium card after discarding this one. So it's basically a counter stadium at it.
Yeah. Like if they play a stadium while the stadium is in play, yours get removed, but theirs get as well.
So, my brain, I have reasoning. My brain would say this is illegal. For the sake of, so this has no effect whilst it's out. It's literally there to stop the stadium from coming out. You can have multiple of that stadium in your deck, but to be honest, you can have multiple chaotic swells. It's just a way to remove their stadium in a way. So it's just that I am preempting your stadium card. Now you have to remove it, kind of thing. Unless they have a way to also remove stadium cards, which there are ways. So there are ways around it, and you can have multiple. So I'm going to say this is illegal.
Illegal or legal? Okay.
Legal.
Legal. Okay. Yeah. Right. So when this was in standard, this is a Sun and Moon card, by the way.
Okay.
So when this was in standard, it was a pretty solid stadium and saw play in like several archetypes when it was released. Mostly in the archetypes that didn't really require a stadium for their core archetype to function, or ones that only ran like one stadium, like a Prism Star Stadium. You don't know what Prism Star cards are? I don't think I have one ready for you to show you. Oh, I do. The Prism Star cards were basically similar to Radiant Pokemon in that you can only put one of them in your deck. But Prism Star cards were special in the sense that if they were removed from play, they would go to the lost zone rather than the discard pile. So some of the decks, there's like several Prism Star Stadiums. There's like 5. I'm showing you Thunder Mountain Prism Star here. It's a pretty good one. It reduces the cost of electric Pokemon's attacks to like 1 less electric, which is pretty good.
Yeah, it's good, yeah.
But you can only run one of these. And if your deck kind of like functions around a Prism Star Stadium and you don't have other stadiums, you can just slap some Chaotic Swells in there if you want more counter stadium action. Or just Chaotic Swells in general in a deck that doesn't really require stadium to function, like ADP Exhaustion, Gigiroxy, Cincinnati Mill. I'm just naming a few archetype names. You don't have to memorize that. Whatever. That's for the experience.
I will not.
Yeah.
I will not.
Yeah. And when this was released, it also saw play in Expanded for similar reasons. Most of the times you'll play it. These days, I would say most of the time you'll see it played in like Iron Torus DX or Regidrago V-Star, because those are like really good standard decks that don't really play a stadium in standard, so they would play Chaotic Swells in Expanded. But Chaotic Swell kind of contests a very specific niche spot of like a whatever stadium, like I just discussed. And it kind of contests this with Temple of Sinnoh. I'll send you over Temple of Sinnoh right now. Temple of Sinnoh is usually these days the go-to. I don't really need a stadium, but I'm running one just to
the stadium. I think I may have had this in the...
Yeah, this stadium is currently in standard as well. So that stadium essentially like nullifies special energy. So usually when this meta has now the whatever stadium spot has transitioned to, okay, if there's a lot of special energy in the meta, Temple of Sinnoh is my default stadium of choice for these type of decks. Otherwise it would be Chaotic Swell. Which means that Chaotic Swell was a very overused card, so to say, overused. Like a lot of decks saw like a 2 of or a 1 of back in the day. But when this was released, that was less of a case, depending on how the meta went. But stadiums also have, like you said, stadiums have a lot of counterplay. You're probably aware of the card Lost Vacuum. That's also in standard right now. You can just remove a stadium from play.
That's for your Cramorants.
Yeah. And this is, like the card I'm showing you right now, Fuel Blower is an even better way to remove stadiums, because you can remove a 2 card on top of that as well. So yeah, stadiums in general have a lot of counterplay, so if there is a stadium that's being banned, it has to be darn fucking broken. I don't think there's a single stadium card that is banned on the expanded list.
Damn.
For that reason, because Stadium Counterplay is very easy.
Yes.
And of course, like, Chaotic Swell removes one of those counterplays, being in the sense that playing another Stadium now technically doesn't give you a Stadium. But like I said, it's not immune to Lost Vacuum or Fuel Blower or whatever other Stadium counterplay there might be. So you were right, it's indeed not banned. It's a very annoying card though, let me tell you. When this was in Standard, I think this was like one of my least favorite cards when it was in Standard.
Reasonable, fair.
Yeah. Alright, you got another one though. Hell yeah.
Wait, is that 5?
That is 5 out of 8. Yeah.
There we go.
We only got 2 more to go.
I'm not letting you win this, I told you.
But I'm leaving the bangers for last, of course. Like, I'm leaving the most interesting cards for last. So, let me know what you think of your 9th card right here. The amazing rare Yveltal.
Yveltal. Oh, it needs a lot of different types of energies. Ugh. But, instant knockout. Okay, amazing destruction. Your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out.
And you require a fire, a psychic, a dark, and 2 colorless energy for that.
Now, my brain is thinking... My brain first goes to no, just because it's a lot of different type of energy. It means you have to run a lot of them, and it's high energy cost. But once it's on there, it stays on there. But on the other hand as well, it's 110, which 110 is not too hard to knock out, honestly. Depends on how fast you can get the energy onto your Yveltal.
I can give you a small hint. You can charge up an amazing rare Yveltal technically in 1 turn with the correct setup.
I'm gonna put the ban on it then, just because if you can do it 1 turn, that's a free kill, and then if they can't kill it, that's another kill. I'm gonna say banned.
You're gonna say banned, okay. I should probably explain to you why this was able to technically. Okay, so it's not on turn 1. Yeah. It's not on turn 1 that you can swing with this, but with the correct setup, you can charge this up in 1 turn and attack. Are you familiar with the archetype of Lugia V-Star plus Archeops? If not,
yes, I do know.
Heard of it, but feel free to give the cards a read again. I'm just sending them over to you now. This archetype is currently still in Standard.
I think I have I pre-made one already. I think give it to me at the beginning.
Maybe. But yeah, in general, how this archetype functions, for those who don't know, is you try to discard some Archeops so you can use Summoning Star from Lugia V-Star to put the Archeops on the bench without having to have a Fossil or Archon in play to charge them, to get them going. And Archeops can accelerate 2 special energy from the deck to one of your Pokemon, which is a very, very powerful ability. So what you could do is you could accelerate 3 Aurora Energy and a double Turbo Energy to a Yveltal, and it will be charged up. I'm showing you both the cards. I'm assuming you know what double turbo does because we've talked about it already. But Aurora Energy, for those who don't know, it's basically when you attach it manually, your Pokemon takes damage, but when it's like accelerated from the deck, you don't, and it counts as like an everything energy, but only 1 at a time. So 3 Aurora Energy and 1 DTE was enough to charge up Amazing Rare Yveltal. But this is of course very costly. Like, of course, you can on turn 2 fire off this crazy combo and attack with Yveltal. But it's very costly in terms of energy, so you usually couldn't accelerate to more than 1 Yveltal per game. So for this reason, Amazing Rare Yveltal stayed a 1-of in this Lugia archetype, and when it rotated to Expanded, it occasionally again saw play as a 1-of in Lugia V-Star. But this card is definitely not oppressive enough to warrant a ban in Expanded, mostly because you can't really charge up more than a 1-of.
Okay.
I will have to say, this card is definitely more consistent in Expanded because of Prism Energy. That's a Gen 5 card. I'm showing it to you right now, but it's basically Aurora Energy, but without any downside. So you technically can charge up like 2 or 3 Yveltals per game, albeit with a little bit more effort. But definitely not oppressive enough to get banned. Also, Temple of Sinnoh, if that's in play, this card can't attack whatsoever.
Yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah. So Amazing Rare Yveltal is not banned, but it's a very cool card, and it has seen meta play in Standard and limited play in Expanded. In the sense that it is occasionally run in Lugia V-Star decks in Expanded nowadays.
So stay away from Expanded because you might be murdered. Okay. That's my take on
it. Honestly, if you go to expanded, you will be murdered, I think.
Then there you go. Don't go to expanded. You will be murdered now. Yeesh. Right. I want my life.
Let's see if you can get 6 out of 10. Shady, are you ready for your last card to evaluate?
Tiebreaker, let's go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the most difficult card to evaluate.
Oh no.
Because I'm not going to give you any context on this card.
Alright, if you go second, it's Pokemon Evolved during your first turn. That's literally what it is going to be about. So I'm assuming it's not a 10 damage tackle, and if it is, I'm disappointed.
Oh, the tackle is irrelevant, yeah.
Yeah. You go second, so you got a 50-50. And it's not even just 50-50, because you've got to also still draw this. Unless you've got ways to get through your deck. I'm trying to think of if Florges is that good enough to warrant this.
Well, this would have to evolve to Floette, of course, first.
Yeah, Floette. Is Floette good enough to ban this? But it is an instant evolution, so it's a... Oh.
This is a very evil card for me to end on, so I would not blame you if you got this one wrong. It's practically a coin flip. Like, is there a broken Floette, yes or no? That's the question.
Yeah. You know what? You're gonna go, yes, this is banned. Because, well, first turn evolution is 50-50 if it evolves. And if you have the right way, you can technically get 3 Floettes out. Just like that. I want to say yes. Yes, it is.
You're gonna say that it is banned. All right. So let me paint you the picture. This was released in, I think it was Forbidden Light, an X and Y expansion. Card saw no play when it was released. Like absolutely zero play. It had seen 0 play for several years. Because the best Floette that was in format was this one, which gives your grass Pokemon 20 more HP, which is like, yeah, it's alright.
Meh. Yeah.
But then Cosmic Eclipse released. And it released this stupid Floette with the flower picking ability. I'll let you read that real quick.
When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may choose a random card from your opponent's hand. Your opponent reveals that card and shuffles it back to the hand. Yeah, that goes bye-bye.
Yeah. So that's only one card, right? You only shuffle one card back into your deck. But cards there's a few other cards that might help you to trigger that more than once per turn, even if you have only one of each. With these 2 item cards that I'll let you read right now.
So first we got the Super Scooper. Flip a coin. If heads, which no one will never get. Put one of your Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your hand. Oh, I opened it in browser back. Oopsie daisy. I almost reported your message. Devolve. Probably is valid, to be honest, sometimes. You don't want to see RDM. I make it sound so much worse than it is.
Okay, Devolution Spray.
Evolve one of your evolved Pokemon and put the highest stage evolution card on it into your hand. That Pokemon can't evolve this turn. Yeah,
okay, so what you could do is either you could use a combination of these 2 cards, because of course you can't put it on the same Flabébé, but if you have another Flabébé, you can put it on the other one, of course, with Devolution Spray. And if you use Super Scoop Up, that kind of resets the devolution aspect of it as well. So with these kind of cards, you would easily be able to trigger like 3 or 4 on any given turn. And honestly, Pokemon Company was not having any of this. So before Cosmic Eclipse released, so before this Floette released, Flabébé got preemptively banned in both Standard and Expanded.
Oh, preemptive ban.
Even though I'm pretty sure that the expansion after Cosmic Eclipse was the one where Flabébé would rotate to like not Standard anymore. But they still banned it from Standard and Expanded. They were not having any of this.
No.
And after Flabébé got banned, that flower picking Floette stayed incredibly mediocre as it was like intended to be, of course.
Yeah.
But yay, let's go. You guessed the coin flip right.
coin flip mine because I get my coin flips.
Bro, this ban list is the ban list is so fucking funny because you see like really powerful cards like red cards and Getsis, and then you see fucking a flop baby on there.
Yeah, it's that baby. Will it win? Will it lose? I don't know. It's a coin flip.
Yeah. Well, you actually did a lot better than I expected. You got 6 out of 10 right, so congrats to you.
Yeah, we'll take it.
I hope you enjoyed this.
Yes, it has been very enlightening and entertaining. Like a lot of these is just just some of them are obvious. Some of them are just what the heck is this? Why is he showing me this? Why?
It's the mind games for me, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I won some of your mind games, so I'll take it.
All right, and if you, the viewer at home, if you enjoyed this, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. If you want to see more enlightening content like this, please let me know in the comments. This is all from us for now. Maybe I'll see you in the future, but for now, I'm gonna say bye-bye and peace.